Special edition from the Star in Frisco as we take a look outside AT&T Stadium where the doors will be open for the first time in the regular season coming up Sunday at noon. The New York Giants come to town. Into week 2 we go of the 2025 Cowboys season. Alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, and Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Youmans. So glad you're with us. Gentlemen, we got to start with some bad news. The cornerback position, which has been a revolving door for the Cowboys over the last few seasons, continues to be such now under the Brian Schottenheimer era. We'll take a look at the cornerback depth chart, and there's a reason you see DaRon Bland on the left side of your screen. He was out in practice earlier this week, not expected to play going into Sunday's matchup and possibly beyond due to a foot injury. It's a different foot that he dealt with than last year's injuries that kept him out for double-digit worth of games. But Barry, we've talked about this secondary before, still struggling to keep their best players on the field.
Yeah, this is a huge loss for the Dallas Cowboys defense and their secondary. I mean, not only are you losing one of the best ball-hawking corners in the National Football League, I'm talking 14 interceptions, but you're also losing a valuable spot at that nickel position. To me, which is one of the hardest positions on the secondary, is that nickel, because not only can you have to cover, you have to be able to read zones, you have to be able to fit in the run support, and that's what DaRon Bland did well. He was a 5-tool player out there. He could stop the run, he could cover, he could take the ball away. You're losing all of that with DaRon Bland, and you're putting uncertainty in one of the hardest positions on the secondary. So it's a huge loss for the Dallas Cowboys defense.
It is a huge loss. Obviously, we all understand how important DaRon Bland is to this defense. However, when you go back and look at the film from week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe that the Dallas Cowboys played zone 100% of the time. So it doesn't matter who you put out there right now, as long as they have an understanding of teamwork and an understanding of their zone and their responsibilities there, you should be okay, because you're not playing man-to-man and needing somebody to be a cover corner for you until DaRon Bland comes back.
It is a very big loss to lose Bland, but you know, what defense do you run now, Barry? I mean, well, how do we come back at this with a corner like that missing?
Well, I would go back to what Isaiah said. I mean, you're playing zone. Last week they did a lot of match zone, which means if a guy comes into your zone, you're going to sit there and you're going to lock down on him. You're not necessarily taking him all the way across the field, but you're also just not passing him along as well. So you're going to have a lot of zone coverage out there, eyes on the quarterback, and that's how this defense becomes opportunistic.
Well, that's the thing, is now it's who does the fill-in work, because it's not an IR trip for DaRon Bland. He's not out for 4 games. They don't expect him to be out for 4 games, but he will be out a week or 2 possibility. And if that's the case, you're going to see guys like Tre'Quezi Bridges, who's a rookie. You're going to see Reddy Stewart, who had 15 snaps last year but can play in the nickel. Just a couple of options there to fill in for DaRon Bland at some point in the next couple weeks. That's the conversation that we'll have going into this matchup against the Giants in week 2. When we come back, saw some good things on the ground for the Cowboys in week 1. Isaiah Stanback's going to hit the film room, break down what the Cowboys did right against the Eagles.
Special edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Reliant, official energy provider of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. And by AT&T. Connecting changes everything. This segment is brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas.
Pad level was really good. Combination blocks were really good, and then when they were moving, they started blitzing and trying to move, and they're pretty, static in terms of what they do. I thought we blocked movement pretty well. There was a run down to the 1-yard line. I actually showed the group a little bit ago where it was probably a 7 or 8 yard run, and it kind of got stalemated, but our guys coming behind and pushing the pile and finishing. We talk about competitive stamina all the time, and they probably pushed the pile for another 5 or 6 yards. It wasn't the tush push. It was during the course of a play, but it was cool to see those guys like, hey, keep playing, keep playing, play to the echo of the whistle. That was cool to see.
The 12, the second down run inside. A good run, Williams powering forward to the 2. Inside the 2, and it's 1st and goal for the Cowboys here at the back end of this first quarter.
You got to love seeing the improvement in the run game just 1 week into this NFL season. The Cowboys had some positives, and that was one of them. The power in the offensive line and the running ability of a guy like Javonte Williams as well. Isaiah Stanback, we got some plays to look through here. This wasn't the only instance. There were multiple times in that Week 1 matchup where the power was in the run game.
Absolutely. But since Coach Schottenheimer wants to talk about that particular run, how about we talk about it? Let's go ahead and break it down. All right, so what he was referring to is you guys are going to see a little short motion here across the formation. Brevin Spanford is going to come into your screen as we go ahead and hit the play button here. Boom, right here. Now, what is Brevin Spanford's job? His job is to come and seal the end man on the line of scrimmage. Boom, he's going to seal here. Everybody else is working down. That is the key element to this play as you see it play through. So he comes up, bam, there goes the contact that we just talked about. Spanford does an amazing job getting the seal. Now we got Tyler Guyton working up. We have Tyler Smith doing his job. Now you guys are going to see Hunter Lipke. He's looking for anybody. He's looking for color. Who can I get a hat on? But you guys are going to see everybody's taking care of their job. Let's see where the first point of contact occurs. Boom, at the 10-yard line, 9-yard line, whatever you want to call it. That's when Javonte Williams first gets contacted. But as you heard Coach say, everybody pushes the pile. Javonte Williams is a strong running back. He runs his feet all the way down here to the 1-yard line. Does a really good job there.
So when you talk about the power and the strength of this offensive line, you could see it on display there. Another thing you talked about was combo blocks. Where did those combo blocks show up in the film?
Yeah, again, you're going to see this kind of show up. These backside cutoffs, these wham blocks by the tight ends, they're doing a good job. So you guys are going to see a return motion come back, and you guys are going to see Ferguson do a really good job, again, of sealing off the backside. You guys are going to see it here, return, bam, right, pause it right there. Now, we just saw that backside cutoff. Now, to the combo blocks. You guys are going to see my guy Booker, and you guys are going to see T. Steele working on these two individuals right here, 1 and 2. All right, they're responsible. That is a combo block. Now, what else is taking place? All right, we have Tyler Guyton kicking the defensive end out, and then what do we have? Tyler Smith and Cooper Beebe working on how many people? 1, 2. That is a combo block. And when you have that, as well as your receiver out here in George Pickens getting blocked, now you have running lanes. Now you have somewhere that you can run through, give Javonte Williams the ability to put his foot in the ground, get vertical, and that's how big plays happen.
And you talked about the blocking ability from the wide receivers. That's not the only time that they utilize the wide receivers and the tight ends. And a lot of motion, too. Clayton Adams, who's an offensive line guy, you can see his early influence on it. Where do you see it here?
Oh, again, okay, we're going to talk about some of these guys. Let's go ahead and talk about CeeDee Lamb has an opportunity. Okay, Pickens has opportunity. And Ferguson does another great job of getting his cutoff. Let's go ahead and play it through. Okay, you guys are going to see him come across the formation. Where's he going? Aha! Pause it right there. Backside cutoff once again. Chops his man down. Timber, okay? So now we got Guyton working up here. You got Tyler Smith doing his job. BB's on the wrong side here. You like to see him be here. But everybody's doing their job walling off the backside. When I mean wall off the backside, everybody is on this side of the play, okay? Meaning on this side, over there. That is perfectly fine for everybody to be over here. Why does that matter? Because when you get the backside cut off like we do here with Ferguson, now you just need your receivers to get their blocks. And if they get their blocks, then there is nothing but space. And that's where the big plays occur. That's how you get your plus 20 rushes. And if we were able to finish our blocks on the outside of the receiver position, you'll have more plus 20-yard gains.
And that's what happened on the Miles Sanders run. That was 49 yards worth.
So.
All of that was patient, letting the blocking scheme do its thing, pave the way up front, and then boom, hit the hole, see what happens from there. The run game took a step forward in Week 1. Let's see what they can do against the Giants and that defensive front from the Giants in Week 2. When we come back on Special Edition, Tommy Yarish sits down with Stephen Jones, and they talk through what they've seen from Brian Schottenheimer in the early days as head coach in Dallas.
This segment was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. This segment is brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan.
Speaking of fans of the year, the Cowboys Nation was out in full force for the Week 1 watch party at AT&T Stadium. No such watch party this week because the doors will be open for the Cowboys home opener against the New York Giants. With more on the Cowboys' current state, let's turn it over to Tommy Yarish, who's with Stephen Jones.
When you hire an offensive coach, there's always the question of, Okay, do you feel like they can handle play calling duties and being a head coach? You had that with Mike McCarthy, and you got your first taste of it with Brian Schottenheimer. What did he show you in the interview process that made you confident he could handle both? And you got in your first look, how do you feel like he did handle both?
Well, I think Coach Schottenheimer. Let's start with the fact he grew up in it. From the time he was this tall, having one of the great coaches in this league, his dad. I just think he's built for it, and he's been around a lot of great coaches. He's called plays since he was very young in this league, and I think he's just very comfortable with it. And then, the bigger thing that's been so impressive is just, his overall grasp and leadership and energy that he brings is so authentic. What he can bring to this team, I think you saw it in the way our guys played. They played with energy, they played tough, they played hard, they played physical. Those are all the things Coach Schottenheimer wants in the type of brand of football team that we're going to have. And I feel very good that is heading in the right direction. And I think we had a great week of practice, and hopefully it's going to translate onto the field when we play the Giants.
You can catch the entire interview with Tommy and Stephen Jones on DallasCowboys.com. It is a matchup with another NFC East foe. What's going to challenge the Cowboys as they take on the Giants in Week 2?
This segment was brought to you by the NFL Fan of the Year, presented by Captain Morgan. This segment is brought to you by Salvation Army, doing the most good.
Welcome back into Special Edition as we take a look at some of the Giants' top storylines from their opening of the 25 season. A big loss on the road against the Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn and company leading a 21-6 win in another NFC East battle. Third straight time that the Giants were held without a touchdown. First time since the early 40s. Actually, the Cowboys were one of those 3 season openers back in 2023 when they were a 40-0 victor over the Giants. And then Russell Wilson, despite some speculation around the media that Ole Miss quarterback and rookie Jackson Dart would possibly be the starter after a down week for Russell Wilson, Brian Daboll does give the vote of confidence to the veteran quarterback. Back with Isaiah, Barry, and Nate, I'm Kyle Youmans. And gentlemen, when it comes to this team and the Giants, they are thin in a couple spots. They are strong in a couple spots, and one of the spots they're strong in is the wide receiving core. Malik Nabers is an elite player at that position. Isaiah, how do you cover him going into the matchup?
Well, last week you played 100% zone against the Philadelphia Eagles. I highly suggest that you do the same thing again because Malik Nabers is not the person that you want to try to play man-to-man against, especially when you are down DaRon Bland and you're still working Trayvon Diggs into a full slate of plays. So I highly suggest that you go out there, try to get some pressure with your front four, and zone it up and pass him off from area to area.
But my thing is, do you put your hands on him? Because I would try to get physical with him. I know he's a specimen, but I would try to get physical with him and frustrate him because as the game went on last week, he kind of blew up at his offensive coordinator. He blew up at the quarterback. So I want to frustrate him because he is a dynamite player.
Yeah, when it comes to playing Malik Nabers, I think you have to play zone. I mean, especially what you miss at DaRon Bland out there. And when it comes to the physicality, like you're speaking of, Nate, what you're going to have to do in that zone coverage is you get hands on him early. But that doesn't mean you're going to have to go out there and follow him like it's man-to-man coverage. So for me, work that zone. It worked perfect against Philadelphia, and they're 2 big-time receivers in Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I think they'll do the same thing for the New York Giants. Play that zone coverage, allow Russell Wilson or make Russell Wilson go through his projections 1 through 5, and that'll give your defense an extra tick, an extra second to get back to the quarterback.
And Russell Wilson's number 2 target, Wan'Dale Robinson, is out so far through practice this week due to an ankle injury. So keep an eye on that as they get closer to Sunday. But when you look at the strengths of this Giants team, can't go very far without talking about that defensive line. Nate, I know you've had your eye on it because this is going to challenge the Cowboys' interior. How do they guard those guys up front?
What you got to do, you got to be able to run. And if you can find ways to run outside more than inside, because Dexter Lawrence is sitting in there. And when he get on a zero technique over the center, he gets in this little Donkey Kong squat, and he's hard to move, I promise you. Or if he get into one technique just a little bit outside either side of the center, he is going to tilt, and he is not going to be moved. So our deuce blocks, the guard and center, have to be perfect, pass or run.
Nate, I love the strategy, but the strategy I'm going with is Spitgate 2.0. That means do the same strategy you had against Jalen Carter, do the same thing against doggone Dexter Lawrence, okay? Get him talking and hatua all over, get him out the game, because he's a problem up front, okay? You got to be able to use 2 of your offensive linemen to block him all day long, but he also has other guys that then will be ISO'd. If you're doing 2 guys with Dexter Lawrence and you also have one-on-one matchups with Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, and Kayvon Thibodeau. That is not what you want, so make sure that you go ahead and focus on him, but everybody else, you have to win your matchups.
Spit cake. I mean, it's wild. It's wild right now.
Wow.
But if you can't get him to get kicked out the game like Jalen Carter, in my opinion, you got to find different creative ways to block this man. I mean, we saw some of the tape you had earlier in the earlier segment where you have wham box. You have Ferguson coming from his spot, coming downhill. Lawrence will think he's free. You got somebody to wham block him to get him off his tracks, but you got to get this guy thinking on his toes, because if he knows it's just a one-on-one block or even a 2-on-1 block, he's going to dominate the trenches. So you got to find ways to be creative in blocking him and keeping him on his toes.
Could you imagine if it's the second week in a row? Could you imagine how the internet would explode if it's, again, Jalen Carter? I don't think that's happening. Everybody in the league learned their lesson on that one. You never know, as Isaiah's coming up with creative ideas on how to take down that Giants front seven. When we come back on Special Edition, the Cowboys getting ready for their opportunity in Week 2 of the NFL season, also taking some time to serve in the community.
This segment was brought to you by Salvation Army, doing the most good. Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Dallas Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. And by AT&T, connecting changes everything.
This week, the Dallas Cowboys partnered with the Texas Lottery to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month and the NFL Play 60 week in Arlington, Texas.
I was really excited. Before the night we came here, I got my whole entire outfit planned.
Exciting, because I've never been face to face with them.
The NFL Play 60 program features youth outreach events in Arlington, Dallas, and Frisco to encourage healthy lifestyles.
We're getting an opportunity today. The Cowboys are introducing a new initiative. It's a mouth enrichment program. And so our kiddos are the first to get their hands on this book. We'll definitely be utilizing that here at Rominzi to get our kids practicing for mouth.
DB's on 3. 1, 2, 3.
DB! This fall, the Dallas Cowboys are providing all Arlington ISD elementary schools with NFL flag football curriculum kits to encourage exercise through the fun of flag football.
I think flag football is just, it's a good stepping stone into football, and everybody can do it. That's another thing. I feel like everybody can be included, and it's just really fun.
The Dallas Cowboys and their partners, including Dairy Max, NFL Flag, and more, aim to create an exciting and memorable experience for the area youth that can encourage a lifetime of active and healthy living.
It was really fun, and my favorite was the flag football.
3, 2, 1. For the Dallas Cowboys, I'm Pamela Jagger-Purcell.
How cool is that? The community the Cowboys showing out for the community and making an impact even going into a game week. Well, the community showed out for the Cowboys during their first matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. Take a look at this. Isaiah, I've got a question for you. How did your horse get into a bar? Look at there. Look at the horse with the cowboy hat on. What are you doing? I know you've got some land out there, but I didn't realize it was like that.
That's Texas in every way.
Yeah. Cowboys.
Is that got holes for his ears in
yeah.
the suit?
Yeah, holes in the cowboy hat and everything.
That's
They
awesome.
ride him in there? Did they buck it?
How did you do that, Isaiah? That's impressive.
If I had a horse, I definitely would roll up in a bar with it.
Oh, man, I love it. Cowboys fans are the best. They get to go home this week. It is Hispanic Heritage Day at AT&T Stadium. What are the advantages to playing at home?
You're at the crib, man. You got all the fans there, the energy, the momentum, all that stuff is in your advantage.
Yeah, you're comfortable. I mean, you don't have to travel all over the place. You can go through your routine. You're in your own locker. You get to bring your own supplies. It's just comfortability for me.
A few tricks and gadgets. As long as you do them early, boy, you can recover at the home field.
Ooh, I like it. Maybe you get a little home cooking, too, from the officials. You know, you got a little bit of that last time, too. Maybe we'll see what happens. Cowboys-Giants at noon on Fox coming up this week. Pre-game live with us 4. We get started at 11 a.m. Central Time on TXA 21 and on DallasCowboys.com. It's week 2 of the NFL season. Can't wait to see you on Sunday. That'll do it for us on Special Edition.